Well, today we're really excited to have Mike Stagg talk about backing safely. Boy, this is a challenging subject. This is one from the entire time I've been here a long time. This has always been number one or number two, and generally it's number one as far as it comes to our car crashes. What are we talking about today, Mike?
Yeah, just what you said. It's one of our most common causes of loss here at the trust. I mean, as we talk car crashes and even things like workers' compensation injuries, back injuries and things like that. Vehicle backing accidents regularly lead the way for us. And this is one that you guys have probably heard before, but this is one of those topics that we need to keep getting better on. Okay, is backing safe. It is our most common cause of claims. Almost 50% of our total vehicle claims are because of backing accidents. Okay. Just some national numbers for you. 282 people are killed annually because of backing. 282 people killed annually because of a backing accident. About 17,000 people are injured. Okay. The thing with all of these backing accidents is they are 100% preventable. We can prevent all of these accidents. This is one that we can make go away. These can just go poof and be gone, and we don't have to deal with them anymore. And that's what we're going to talk about today. The strategies that we can employ in order to make sure that we prevent these backing accidents. Okay. As we're going through and looking at our different claims and seeing what it is we're actually backing into. Okay. What are the hazards out there? Well, here they are. Okay. Poles, trees, and signs. Those things are just jumping out at us. They weren't there before, but now they're there. And these are things that are behind the car. These are also support posts and poles. Think in parking garages, in covered parking outside that you park underneath. The support poles for that. Okay, parked cars. We back into a lot of parked cars. Cars that are in the parking lot and parked there, or on the side of the road, or whatever it may be, or the car next to us. Unfortunately, we back into people. Okay. Other things are objects left behind the vehicle, balls and bikes and tools and things like that are also other things that we're backing up into. So the problem here is, none of these accidents are really that major, right? If you have a backing accident, they're not going to cost a lot of money. But the thing is, they add up quickly. These little teeny tiny things that are 100% preventable, we can make them go away. And there are there are a lot of cases here where backing up results in tragedy. Okay. Our goal here is no dead kids. This is one of the ways that we have dead kids though, is backing accidents and not looking and seeing where we're going and not checking around our vehicle and making sure that we are doing it right every single time. Okay. Like I said, many of the accidents are very minor, but there are tragic, tragic things that can happen with backing accidents. And we want to make sure we avoid all of that at all costs. I have a question for you here as we start out this morning. How many miles did you drive into work today? How many miles did you drive here into the office? Was it 10? Was it 20? Maybe it was 30. Maybe it was 7. You're going to drive 100 miles today. But think of how all those miles that you're driving today, and which way are you driving your vehicle? Yeah, you're driving forward, right? Driving forward, going place to place, and you're going forward. 7, 10, 20, 50, 100 miles a day. But the vast majority of all those miles that we drive per day, 95 to 99%, we are all driving our vehicle forward, where we have a great big window and a big field of view in front of us. How many miles per day do you drive backing? I would venture to say that within a week's period of time, probably you drive less than a quarter of a mile backwards. But we see here at the Trust, we see so many more accidents per mile backing up than we do driving forward. Even though we only drive a fraction of the miles going backwards, we see so many more accidents going backwards than we do going forwards on a per mile basis. Now, why is that? Why do you think that is? Why do you think we see so many more accidents involving backing, even though we do it on a very low frequency, right? We back up on a very low basis. I think the problem here is a lot of inattention and distraction, right? These screens that we have, these phones, and the thought that we have to ourselves that we say, you know what? I'm only going 2 miles an hour going backwards. My foot's not even on the accelerator. I can look at the phone, set my nav, set my music. It's okay. I'm only backing up a half a car or 1.5 car lengths. What's the big deal? Okay. We get in it, we get distracted and we not pay attention to what we're doing. We hit the pole at the side that we knew was there. We don't let the garage door open all the way. And we back into the door. Okay. These things happen to us. Maybe we're in a hurry, getting from job to job, place to place. And we think, you know what? We can shave off a couple of seconds here by not doing a walk around the vehicle or not getting out and looking. Maybe we back unnecessarily. Like we willfully choose a spot in a parking lot that is going to force us to back out. Rather than choosing a pull-through spot or choosing to back into that spot, we instead choose a spot that we are going to have to back out of. Okay, we'll talk about that here in a minute. Other things, blind spots. Think about your vehicle when you're driving. Your greatest field of view is where? It's at the front of the vehicle. If you look out behind your vehicle, that field of view is severely diminished because of blind spots. We have things that are blocking the way. Maybe it's large vehicles. Maybe we drive a large vehicle. Maybe we park next to a dumpster or a fire truck or a big jacked up Ford F-150. Okay, that somebody's driving out there on the road. So we can't be seen by other drivers, and we can't see the other drivers as they're driving through the parking lot. Okay, those are big problems too. So how do we fix it? Well, here's I think some of the ways we fix it. We'll talk about these: parking selection, what we choose, and what spot we consciously choose to park in a parking lot, our design of our equipment, and how we prepare ourselves in our vehicle in order to back up safely. We'll talk about goal, get out and look, and what that means. We'll also talk about use of a spotter. And having a good backing policy is the backbone of everything that we do here involving backing and making sure we can make it go away. Is in our organizations, we should have a policy that prohibits backing at all costs. Okay. We're going to choose a parking spot, or we're going to use spotters, or we're going to use cones, or we're going to do some strategies in order to help us back up our vehicle safely. Backing up at all, just not backing up at all. But if we have to, some very specific things that we've got to follow in order to make sure that we don't get involved in these crazy little accidents. First thing we have to do is we got to prepare to back up. We got to make sure we clear all of our dust, snow, and ice from our windows. That means clearing all the snow, not just the front windshield so you can see out the front, but clearing out the back, scraping all the windows off with all the ice, making sure it's all clear so you can see everything you need to see. Make sure you adjust and check all of your mirrors. Many of you may drive a vehicle where you're not the primary driver. Maybe you drive an organization vehicle that you share with somebody. Maybe it's a personal vehicle that you share with a spouse or a child. These things, we need to make sure that we check all of the mirrors so they're set so we can see what we think we need to see for us. Because if the other person drove it before us, it might be very, very different on the way they position their mirrors. So make sure you check and adjust all of your mirrors. We'll talk about what we need to see in those mirrors in just a second. Turn your head and look both directions. Okay, I think this is a lost art. I think you might agree with me that much like video killed the radio star, right? Backup cameras killed the turning your head and looking both directions. Because as soon as you put your car in reverse, what's the first thing you do? Yeah, your face goes right to that screen to see what's going on. And then it doesn't move. Okay. The art of turning your head and looking behind you is lost. I think it really is. That's one of the things we can do is make sure you turn your head and look both directions. We'll talk about that here in just a minute. And asking others to stay clear and to watch out for you. Having a spotter is another thing that we can do to help us avoid these backing accidents. Again, we'll cover that here in just a few minutes. And when we think backing, you're going to hear me talk a lot about this, is goal. Think goal, G-O-A-L, get out and look. Get out of the vehicle and look around. Ensure you have a circle of safety around your vehicle. What we're looking for? Oh, we're looking for kids. We don't want any dead kids. We're looking for bikes and dogs and cars behind us and trees and the ditch behind us. We're looking for poles that we park next to see how far we have to pull out of this parking spot before we start to turn our front wheels to swing the front end around so we don't hit that pole. Do we have to fold in the mirrors so that we don't take a mirror off when we're backing out and take it against the support post? Get out and look. Think goal. Get out and look. Make sure you have a circle of safety around the vehicle so you're not going to hit or run into anything as you're backing out of a parking spot. Backup cameras are a great help as we look to navigate this goal, this get out and look and making sure we have a circle of safety. Now, backup cameras are not a perfect solution. I think we use them way too much as a crutch. I think that head gets turned right there to that backup camera and boom, that's all we look at. And we don't look at anything else. Backup cameras, they don't show us everything we need to see. Even the fancy pants, top down view, that bird's eye view that shows you all around your vehicle, even that doesn't show you everything you need to see. All backup cameras have limitations. We need to learn what the limitations of those backup cameras are. What can it see and what can it not? Is it a help? Absolutely. Do we need to spec it for all our new vehicles? 100%. All of our new vehicles and even our older vehicles should have backup cameras. If they don't have a backup camera, you can get aftermarket things that'll put a backup camera on the vehicle. God, we really recommend those backup cameras, but don't rely on them. They're great help, but they are not a solution. Okay. They're a tool for us to use in order to help us back up, but they're not a tool that we need to 100% rely on because there's limitations and they can't see everything. So what we need to do as well is we need to eliminate the distractions and just know that backup camera is not going to show me everything. So what does that mean? We need to eliminate the phone use, especially when we're backing the vehicle up. Say I'm talking on the phone, I get in the vehicle, I turn the vehicle on, and it connects to the car, and I start talking wirelessly via the Bluetooth. But I got to back out of a parking spot. Ask the other person on the other end of the line, hey, give me 10 seconds. Let me get out of this parking spot. Put the phone down, set your nav, set your music, whatever, then turn it off and wait till you get out of the parking spot. Okay, get out of the spot, no phones, no conversations, no radios until you've safely executed the backup maneuver. Remind yourself that backing up is the highest risk thing that you're going to do every single day while you drive. Now you're thinking to yourself as I say that, Mike, you're crazy. Because if I'm going 70 miles an hour on the freeway, you're telling me that is less dangerous than when I back up going 2 miles an hour out of the parking lot, backing up a car length and a half. I'm here to tell you that that's true, that backing up is more dangerous than that. Why? Because we see more accidents happen on a per mile basis when you back up your vehicle than when you drive 70 miles an hour on the freeway. You drive 70 miles an hour on the freeway, you get in a crash, it's going to be catastrophic. Backing up, it can also be catastrophic. Okay? We've got to remind ourselves that we travel a very fraction of the total miles a day going backwards, but we crash so much more often going backwards than going frontwards. We need to make sure that we eliminate the distractions when we back up and really focus on what we're doing, because this is a very high risk maneuver that we're doing. One of the things we can do is we can make sure we get oriented to the surrounding area. Know what's around us, know where the poles are, where the people are behind us, where the cars are parked in the parking lot. Okay. Make sure you devise a plan on how you're going to back into this parking spot or back up out of the parking spot. When do I need to turn my wheel so I avoid the pole or the car that's already parked there? Okay. Make sure you think goal. Again, get out and look. Okay, get out of the vehicle and look around. Make sure there are things that you're not going to hit or run over. Adjust your mirrors. Again, make sure you can clearly see the rear or side of the vehicle in your side view mirrors. Okay, you want to make sure you can clearly see that so you know where cars are approaching from, so you can make sure you try and eliminate those blind spots. Again, watch where you're going. Turn your head and look. Okay, turn your head and look behind you. Don't rely on the backup camera. It's there. It's a great tool for you, but it cannot be a substitute for turning your head and looking. Turn your head to the side over your right shoulder and your left shoulder. Make sure you look out both directions to make sure that you're safe to make sure to do the backing maneuver. Focus on what we're doing here. Remember, this is the highest risk maneuver you're going to do every single day when you drive a vehicle is back out or back in. Make sure you do it right every time. Watch all the sides of your vehicle. Watch for objects and watch for people. Look at your angles. What do I mean here by looking at your angles is when you start to turn your wheel, look what that does to the angle of your vehicle. It swings your front end out or it swings your back end out. Where are the angles of the vehicle? When I start to move that wheel, how does that change the orientation of my vehicle to where those stationary objects of poles and cars and other things, how does it change that? Be aware of where the blind spots are in your vehicle. Be aware that you have to turn your head and look at all sides so you eliminate those blind spots out. Now, just a couple other tips and tricks for you as you talk about backing. Make sure you start slow. Start slow and backing out of that parking spot. Okay. Don't hit the gas. You don't need to use the gas. Just take your foot off the brake and feather on that brake. That's going to help you. Small and slight movements make a big difference, especially if you're backing a trailer. Okay, many of you know this from backing trailers. Small and slow adjustments make a big difference. See where that car is going and the trailer is going as you're backing up the vehicle. Which way is my trailer swinging? Which way is the front end of my vehicle swinging? Big thing here, don't be afraid to take it again. Don't be afraid. If you notice I'm backing in and it doesn't look right, straighten her out, give it another go. It's okay. You may think to yourself, you know what, Mike, I look like an idiot. I look like I don't know how to back my car up. Who cares? 99% of the times you're never going to see the person you're backing up next to again. Who cares? Just do it again. Okay? Make sure you do it right. Don't try and force it or muscle it or try and think, oh, I could do this first time. Who cares? Pull it out, straighten it out, try it again. Okay. Now, how do we eliminate the backing accidents? We talked a lot about some prep work that we can do beforehand. But now, how do we eliminate them? How do we get them to be gone? I think the very first thing we can do, and one of the most effective ways that we can eliminate backing accidents, is making sure we choose a correct parking spot. And when we choose the correct parking spot, that we park correctly. In a parking lot, if we have the ability to choose a pull-through spot, we should choose a pull-through spot. A spot that allows us to pull all the way through so that when we leave that spot, we can pull out forward. We don't have to back up. Perfect. We may have to walk a little bit further into the restaurant at lunch. We may have to walk a little bit further into the office or into the store. Who cares? It's okay. Get a little exercise. Okay. If there isn't an opportunity for a pull-through spot, you should back in upon arrival. And that should be one of the bare minimum things that we have in our organizations is that every single one of our vehicles, if we can't pull through, that we back that vehicle in upon arrival. Every vehicle should be backed in. Why? Because check out the picture here. With this car backed into this parking spot, there's many spots in this parking. There are no other cars here. This car could have pulled straight in and pulled into the spot forwards, and it would have been okay. But instead, they chose to back in. Why? As you look at the parking spot and the parking job done by this person, you see that they backed into what we call a controlled environment. Now, that controlled environment is where the parking spots meet each other. Okay? You don't have people walking there mostly. You don't have cars driving there for sure. So it's very controlled and it's very predictable. Now, when that car goes to pull out of that spot, it pulls out into the roadway, out to where cars are driving and people are walking. Okay. You have a greater field of vision where your greatest field of vision is out the front of your vehicle. We should use that to our advantage and pull out of the parking spot into the uncontrolled environment with our greatest field of view. If we back into the spot and pull out, we achieve that. But if we pull into the spot and then have to back out of the spot, we are now backing out into a very unpredictable environment with a lesser field of view. Okay. So this one should be our very first thing that we do in our organizations is that you back in upon arrival. Make sure the vehicle backs into the parking spot so that we can avoid having to back out into an uncontrolled environment. Now, if we have to back in, If we have to, anytime we back out or back into a spot, and if we've got somebody else with us, we should use a spotter. That should be another one of our rules that we have in our organizations, is that if we're driving with somebody, like we got myself and somebody else, we're going to do a job together, and I have to back out of a parking spot, or I back into a parking spot like I should, that other person should get out of the vehicle and help me back in. Using a spotter when it's available is going to help backing accidents disappear. It just will, because we have that person who is going to help us back up into that spot. Okay. Ultimately, the driver is still responsible. So if as a driver you can't see your spotter, move so you can see your spotter, or stop your vehicle. If you're the driver and you can't see your spotter, stop your vehicle. Now, if you're the spotter and you can't see your driver, move till you can see your driver. If you can't see the driver can't see you. So make sure that you position yourself to where you can see your driver. Make sure you try and keep eye contact as best you can with that driver. And as a driver, again, if you can't see your spotter, stop your vehicle. Okay. You should have some agreed upon hand signals. Turn right, turn left, getting closer, stop, whatever it is, emergency, stop your vehicle. Whatever it is, whatever kind of signals or hand signals that you've worked out, you should have that worked out with your spotter. When you're driving the vehicle, make sure you roll the window down, turn the music off so you can hear your spotter. Okay. And try and keep eye contact as best as you can. Now, again, wherever driving with somebody and we have to back into a spot, like we should in a parking lot, or if we have to back out of a spot because we didn't back in the first place, use a spotter. That person should get out and help you back out of that parking spot. Now, if you can't or won't back into a parking spot, you're like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to back in. I know I suck at it. I'm not going to back into spots as I go to lunch or as I go to the office. I'm not going to back the company vehicle in. Then you're going to use a cone. Okay. People hate to use the cone. Why? Because it makes them do more things. Okay. But if you can't or won't back into a parking spot, you have to use a cone. We highly encourage that a cone is used. Why? Because when you place that cone at the passenger rear portion of your vehicle, what that's going to force you to do as the driver is get out of the vehicle, walk all the way around, and pick that cone up. It ensures you have a circle of safety. It ensures goal. It ensures that you get out and look. Okay. If you're not going to back into the spot like you should, you're instead going to pull in, but then back out. You should use that cone so you ensure that the garage door is open, that there's no kids behind your car, there's no bikes, there's no parked car that you're going to park into, or that when you walk around to grab that cone from the back of the vehicle, you do that walk around check, you notice, oh yeah, I parked by a pole here. I've got to be sure that I pull straight out before I turn my wheels and change my angle so that I can get out of this parking spot. Okay. Again, we don't want to use the cone. We don't want to get there. Maybe you do though. Maybe you want to use the cone because you won't back in. But if you won't back in or you can't back into the spot, you should be using that cone. Okay. All right. Ultimately, you're responsible. You're responsible as the driver to take care of that vehicle. Okay. Don't just think of it as, oh, this is just the work truck. I can smash it up and it's okay because it's not my personal vehicle. That's not how we should think. It's not just the work truck. It is a vehicle that your organization has entrusted you with to make sure you take care of, just like you would take care of your own vehicle. You want to back up your own vehicle into stuff and think, you know what, whatever. I'm not going to worry about it because the company's paying for the insurance. That's not how it works here. Okay. You're responsible for your actions. It's your responsibility to drive defensively and to get out and look and make sure that you have that circle of safety around your vehicle. Take that responsibility on yourself and that accountability to say, you know what? If I am driving with a partner, I'm going to make sure that that person gets out and helps me back up into a spot or helps me back out of a spot that I chose to pull into. I'm going to make the choice that I'm going to back into every single parking spot that I come across just because I know it's the safer way to do it. Or if I'm not going to back into the spot, I'm going to take the cone out and I'm going to use the cone. I'm going to put the cone at the rear passenger rear part of my vehicle to ensure that I have this circle of safety. Because remember, these backing accidents, they are 100% preventable. We can make these go away. If you do these 3 things, make sure you back in upon arrival, have a spotter, or use a cone. God, we're going to make these things go away. Don't back in if you don't have to. Choose a pull-through spot. If you can avoid backing at all costs, do it. Okay. But if you've got to back, make sure you focus. It is a very dangerous task. Remember, on a per mile basis, there are many more backing accidents out there than forward driving accidents. Get out and look. Remember, that's the goal here. No dead kids. Get out and look. Make sure that you think and take it slow when you're doing this backing maneuver. Make sure you do it right every single time. Okay. I know it's a lot of info. Any questions out there, Jason?
Folks, if you've got any questions, please type those into the chat box. We'd love to hear those now. We had a little chat going on out there. I had to see if anybody knew who performed Video Killed the Radio Star.
Oh.
And Nathan Page got it. So he gets the fame and notoriety and free M&Ms when he comes back to the trust. So next time he's here. So folks, if you've got questions, the Buggles. Oh yeah, we should say who it was. The Buggles. And what's the other notable thing about that song?
It was it was the first music video played on MTV.
First music video played on MTV. And for some people, they're like, music videos on MTV? That doesn't make sense. Hey, everybody, any questions about this? Oh, Derek got it. First video ever on MTV. Sweet. Very good. And he also adds, I believe that Pat Benatar was the second video, and I can verify that. That is all right. Way to go. All right. Any questions or comments that you have, you can type those into the chat box. Wow, what an important subject, and thanks for hitting that, Mike. This is such a key thing for us, and they're embarrassing crashes too, right? You back into your coworker's car, you back into a pole in the parking lot. Those are embarrassing, dumb crashes. But boy, I'll tell you, like Mike said, it's one of those no dead kid things. The potential is out there to back over a kid, your kid, and so I think this is a real key thing and a real focus that we have. I see nothing in the comment or question category right now. Bring us home, Mike.
You know, just like I said, these accidents are 100% preventable. Back into the spot or pull through the spot, or use a spotter. And dang it, if you're not going to back in or pull through, or if you're not going to use the spotter, use the cone. You get the cone.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, everybody, for attending. Appreciate all you do out there. Share this message with your coworkers. Share it with your families, and let's save some lives out there. Thanks, everybody. Go have a safe day.
Thanks, everyone.